Hi man, we're here at Controls Con with some of my favorite people, Ruth and Steven from Siemens. It's been a while since I've seen you, man. What have you been up to?
Oh, just working, selling the Siemens products, valves, actuators, thermostats, sensors, VFDs, and the new RTU.
I can't wait to talk about that. Well, how about introducing Steven here?
Yes, Steve.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Steve Brenz. I'm an application engineer at Siemens. We've got a wonderful product here to talk about today.
So, obviously, Siemens doesn't do anything without a lot of thought and a lot of input from customers.
Correct.
Steven, tell me, who is this product for?
This is designed for anybody that's looking for a building automation system that comes right out of the box. Now, we all know that we pass up 6 million opportunities with rooftops when we're all going for the hospitals and the high schools and trying to win the big products and the big projects, but we don't need those. Honestly, there's a mid-market. It's a $6 billion industry, and it takes up 90% of America's cooling. So why aren't we looking at these mid-markets? So Siemens has come up with an easy way called the Climatix RT system that works with RTUs right out of the box. It has fault detection built in, graphics, programming, all done. It's not a controller, it's actually a solution. It goes in under an hour, it's on a cloud, and it's simply just like a building automation system.
Well, hang on a second. So you're telling me that, so I've got a school with 20 rooftop units on. I can order 20 of those, put them on, it goes up to the cloud, and I've essentially got a building automation system controlling that?
That is exactly right. It's exactly like a building automation system. So you can also pull this into a system, but you don't need to anymore. The cloud is built into it. All the protocols are free. There's no extra licensing. It's a very simple product to put in, and it's a trend going up right now where lots of people love to be able to monitor their system, but not have to get into a building automation system.
Right.
So kind of like an iPhone for the rooftop unit?
That's exactly
Yeah,
right.
great example. Yes.
Okay, cool.
This product is very simple. We're about to put together a very short webinar.
Well, listen, would you be willing to show one to us?
I would love
Today, the agenda, what we're going to speak about is the market landscape, the Climatix RTU Solution, the service models, success and value. I'm going to show you a couple different demos, and in the end, we'll have a little chance for some questions and answers. Let's first talk about the market. At Siemens, we're continuously doing research and innovation. Did you know that RTUs are responsible for cooling 60% of the US markets? That's right, 60%. And as you can see from the screen right here, simple and low complex buildings take up the majority of the US markets. That's 6 million buildings. Compared to the medium and complex buildings, that it seems like a lot of people rush to try to bid out the hospitals, the schools, all the bigger buildings, but you're actually driving by 6 million opportunities on the way to bid out those projects. Let's talk about some more relevance in simple buildings. We have been traditionally strong in the more complex buildings, but now we actually have the opportunity to move into the adjacent buildings. So the target markets on what we're trying to target these days are smaller buildings. And from what we just saw a minute ago, 6 million of them are out there. So the opportunity is great. We can still always tie into the more commercial sized buildings as hospitals and schools. We can always tie into those, but traditionally they've been looked at as the low hanging fruit for RTUs. It's hard to bring those into the system, but that's no longer the case. We've made this very simple. Here are some of the extended campuses that I was just speaking about that we could still tie into building automation systems. We could pull them into a front end, but we don't need to. We could leave these out on the outskirts and we could have them tie into a building automation system that comes already built into the controller. Let me show you how. Here's the solution and what we've put together as a package. So the pre-engineered system is tailored towards the needs and budgets of low complexity buildings. Inside the kit, once you receive the box, you receive one RT controller that's pre-configured. And remember, this is a controller-driven solution. Nothing else needs to be programmed. Nothing else has to be put into it. It's already done for you. So it comes with one Climatix RT controller. It comes with choice of room unit, display or non-display. It comes with a differential pressure switch for a filter. We all know that filter changes are usually done on a quarterly basis or a half-year basis, and sometimes they're not even needed to be changed. This will tell you if it needs to be changed or not. It also comes with one combination sensor to be used for outdoor air temperature and humidity. It also comes with two regular sensors that you could use for mixed air and discharge air temperature. These are key ingredients to making sure the system works right. There's also a couple things that we could pair with this to increase the energy efficiency. We have a new Climatix VFD that we could pair with it. That's as simple as a one push button to set up. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. We also have open air actuators, of course, to be used with economization. And then now we've introduced with the DXR, we can actually control multiple zones with the one rooftop, all built into the app. And then to be able to see these in the long run, the commissioning is all done on a mobile phone. And what technicians don't have a mobile phone on them these days? So everybody always has their unit with them. This is paired with a Wi-Fi stick. And in the end, we watch this over our system, the cloud system called the Climatix IC. This is very similar to a building automation system, all built into one system. Pre-designated application, it's predetermined IOs. The mobile app is used for commissioning and installation. Simple commissioning for the VFD, again, just one push button, and remote monitoring all comes in one system. From some of our partners who've added some of the quotes, I am confident that after the physical install, I can commission this from my phone and have it running in under 30 minutes. That alone is worth thousands of dollars of programming and troubleshooting that I don't have to pay anyone else to do. It's all done from your mobile phone. Simple format configuration, and it's done very simply. Also here in the kit, we add a wiring diagram. So once you open the box and you take out this wiring diagram, if you wire all of the inputs and outputs per this wiring diagram, the mobile app is also complete too. You simply just have to hit done, done, done. You could change this, but we've made this as easy as possible if you just follow this diagram. We're going to show you a quick demo video on how easy it is to install the hardware. So try to pay attention to this. It's only about a 3-minute video, but it'll show you how quickly that we actually put this video together.
The Climatix RTU Solution simplifies maintenance and management of rooftop units to make life easy. The controller and all the sensors you need are included in the RTU kit. The package includes a quick start guide with a QR code to access the mobile app that assists with startup, the Climatix RT controller, an outdoor air combination temperature and humidity sensor, an airflow switch for the filter, 2 10K temperature sensors, a room unit sensor, and Climatix RT connectors. For installation, you'll need a drill, sheet metal screws, and 2 screwdrivers, a number 1 and number 2 for corresponding connectors. For startup, the technician will also need the Wi-Fi commissioning stick. 1 Wi-Fi stick per technician is all you need. Here are the mounting locations for the outdoor air combination temperature and humidity sensor, and the discharge air temperature sensor. Depending on the configuration of your rooftop unit, the mixed air temperature sensor may be located in different areas. The Climatix controller is located here, and this is the location of the optional Climatix VFD. Optional open air damper actuators will also enhance the RTU's performance and energy efficiency with the use of economization. Before installation, make sure to shut off power to the rooftop unit. The Climatix controller should be mounted within reach of the PLC board in the control cabinet. The combination sensor needs to be adjusted to the US temperature scale by removing the cover and moving the jumper to the 3rd position. The sensor is mounted on the outside air hood. The airflow switch is mounted where it can sense the differential pressure by the filters. The hose is attached to the switch. The 10K temperature sensors are mounted on the air supply for discharge air and on the fan to sense the mixed air. The room unit sensor is mounted indoors. Refer to the Quick Start Guide for terminating the sensors at the Climatix controller and compare it to the actual unit. If a Climatix variable frequency drive is part of your solution, mount it near the fan. Pay attention to the positive and negative markings on the SG terminals. And be sure to connect the power and motor wiring to the correct lugs according to the labels to avoid a dangerous situation. Here you will use the number 1 screwdriver. Before commissioning, be sure to have your distributor key available. This key is provided by your tenant administrator. Power on the RTU and check that the Climatix RT controller lights are green. On first connection, the connection to the cloud may take a few minutes. Now open the Siemens Climatix mobile app. The app is available in the Google Play Store and Apple App Store. It can be quickly accessed with the QR code on the Quick Install Guide. Plug the Wi-Fi stick into the controller to start your commissioning. Now follow the steps in the app.
That's really how simple it is. Let's talk a little bit more about installation and commissioning. I've talked about some of the features and functionalities, but how do we get a configurable solution so simple like this? It all is built into the controller. You take it out of the box and it's all done for you. Integrated actuators with feedback from free cooling, all built in. Multi-use sensors for fault detection and diagnostics. There's 27 built-in alarms. They're already set for you. There's no programming needed whatsoever. Pre-assigned IOs, simple wiring per the wiring diagram. If you just wire up for that, it'll be as simple as can be. And it's over and over. If all the units are cosmetically the same, it goes as simple as can be. It's all an application-driven solution. The VFD is built into the controller. We all know that there's 5,000 parameters inside of VFD. Literally now there's just one. And we'll show you exactly how that does in the next demo. But it's all done from the mobile app. Every single one of these things are built into our mobile app. And it's 7 configuration buttons that you need to do. Energy efficiency. If we add our VFD, the energy efficiency is incredible. We had an independent lab study that it doesn't matter the age of the unit, it will save you 20% on energy with combining with our VFD. The controller is also Title 24 compliant for economization, which means there's no use now for a separate economizer controller. Title 24 has been driving the solution for a long time, and now we have one built into the controller. Integrated actuators with feedback for free cooling will tell you always where your dampers are and when they need to be used. Let's talk about smarter building solutions for a safer environment. What we've done is we've improved the indoor air quality function. Demand control ventilation is built already into the controller. Depending on when you hook up your room unit, it will know by reading your indoor air quality and will adjust your dampers for you to try to maintain fresh air. We also have a patent pending purge function, which allows us to purge the air completely in a zone. Lots of our partners are using this, advertising with this. And just recently, we had a report that one of our country clubs that are advertising our purge function, their membership has gone up 30% this year alone, only because people want to be in a safer environment. Multi-use sensors, again, the sensors that come right in the package, are used for detection and diagnostics, and they're really the key part of the whole system. All of this comes in the controller already. No need for anything else. Take it out of the box, put it on, plug it in, wire it up, and you get all of this. The service model and low complexity buildings. Again, 6 million buildings. It's $6 billion in a service market that we drive by every day. Let's talk a little bit about the reactive and proactive solution. So in the past, it's always been a reactive approach. The reactive service models, calls would come in when a situation would arise where the unit was blowing out hot air on a 90-degree day, multiple truck rolls. This would usually be the case when they were trying to fix the problem, to try to determine what the problem was. This always led to downtime. Low loyalty from returning business. People would get upset with the customer from rolling, or the mechanical contractor for rolling a truck a couple times. We call this out of sight, out of mind. But now with the proactive service model, there's hardly any downtime because we have real access from anywhere to our units, automatically detecting a problem with fault detection. Everybody or anybody you choose to get an alarm will get an alarm. We have access to this system remotely from anywhere, so we know before you go what the problem is, and you could bring the part with you. Remote upgrades. We no longer need to roll a truck to plug into a controller to upgrade for new features, new firmware. All that is done from a distance with a push of a button or a schedule that could be done anywhere in the world, and we could do 1,000 units at one time. You could securely monitor multiple locations, and this allows customers to run their business. Success and value. We like to show you where we are seeing success across the United States. Country clubs. It's incredible. A lot of people, like I say, are advertising the purge of the system and explaining that they are switching the air every day or per schedule to make sure that their customers have healthy situations to be in. Fast food chains, houses of worship, fitness centers, municipalities, retirement communities, national retail chains, office buildings, warehouses, K through 12 schools, just about everywhere. Another quote from one of our partners: the benefit to me as the contractor is that I can provide a value to the customer and potentially sell large scale amounts of the product and hire less expensive people to manage the equipment remotely. Also, the likelihood that they will go to another contractor once we have Climatix installed is much less. The value, Title 24 compliant optimization. So what happens is with Title 24, as we might know, is that this is a standard these days. You can't just take a 30-year-old unit that's been sitting on an Army base someplace and put it in a new building. That doesn't work anymore. They must meet standards. So our controller is already meeting the highest standards that are possible. The VFD for multiple speed reduces consumption by 20%. Again, we did an independent lab study for over a month where they ran the unit straight and they came back with 20% energy savings. This increases the indoor energy efficiency ratio. It improves the RTU operation. And what I mean by operation is no more wear and tear on the motor. The motor doesn't start and stop. Now it slowly ramps up, slowly ramps down. We are seeing motors lasting longer across the board. And scheduling of units. You don't have to run all the time anymore. We could schedule them to turn on and off as we need. Demand-controlled ventilation, reducing CO2 levels. Again, with the fresh air purge, this could be done from a schedule. This could be done from a push button on the mobile app. It could be done at any time to just cycle the air before a wedding, cycle the air in retirement communities, always making sure that the air is as fresh as can be. We have humidistat control. We can trigger dehumidification cycles anytime we like. Ionization is now built into our controller, the ability to neutralize contaminants in the air. Failures are detected early and addressed proactively. We have a system that we could set up for alarms to be sent anywhere at any time when something goes bad. Of course, you could choose who those alarms go to. Generally, they will go to anybody you want. Mostly the mechanical contractor would get that, but that creates a more efficient program. The operation is much smoother. It's a better environment for customers, and you can control this from anywhere in the world again. Another quote from one of our partners: When I am here during the summer busy season, I can focus on the market, making sure our members, guests, and staff are having a very good experience. It literally lets me do my job. Now, this is Brad from one of our country clubs. Before we were there, he had to run both the HVAC and try running the business. It's the first time he's able to concentrate on the partners, and this is one of the places that have gone up 30% with memberships in the last year. Let's talk a little bit about our VFD. It's an industry-leading VFD with the features. The only mobile app program to use the entire system. That's right, we control this VFD from our mobile app, and it's a one push button. Seamless integration with the Climatix controller via Modbus. We've taken all the points in the VFD, we've built them all into the controller. So when you're on our cloud, you could see all those points and manipulate them if you want to, but they're all preset in the controller. Induction motors, programming is less than 10 parameters. So we have 10 default parameters, the ramp up time, the ramp down time. All of the units that I've installed and our partners, no one's had to change these, but they're available for you if you'd like to. It's a compact design, which means it's 40% smaller than all of our competitors. Automatic auto tuning is also built into it. But some of the key features are the safe torque on standard, the STO. This is where we don't have so much wear on the motors anymore. It's plenum rated, so you can mount this in the ductwork right at the unit. We have them mounted outside, everywhere inside RTUs. We have an optional DC choke and EMC filters if needed for superior harmonics if you needed to use these. IP20 and 21 with a conduit box kit, and certifications are UL, CE, and CTIC. Now I'm going to show you one last demo. Now this is a 10-minute demo, but we didn't want to cut anything out. So I know it's a little bit long, but it's really the heart of the system. This is where all the questions and answers will come up in the end. So if you pay attention to this, it is everything that you'll need to know on how to use the app, and you'll really have a full understanding of the system. So let's try to pay attention.
This is an overview of the Climatix mobile application. Before we start, make sure you have your Wi-Fi stick plugged into the controller. This is a secure point-to-point connection that will allow you to apply your preferred configuration to your setup. Let's get started. First, select New Setup. Then, at Siemens Configuration, tap Start Configuration. First, pick which type of device you are setting up. For this example, we'll select RTU configuration. There are three options to start: Configure New Setup, Configure from your favorites, or Import Configuration. First, select Configure New Setup. Make sure that you have your Wi-Fi stick plugged into the controller before we continue. This is a secure point-to-point connection that will allow you to apply your preferred configuration for setup. This screen shows you what that should look like. When ready, tap Continue. Here, you'll see 3 steps listed to connect your mobile device to the Wi-Fi stick. Tap on Wi-Fi settings first, which takes you to the mobile device Wi-Fi settings, where you connect to the SSID named Siemens Wi-Fi stick. Once your device is connected to the Wi-Fi, return to the Climatix mobile app and select Continue. It's time to log into the actual controller you are configuring. This secure login page allows you to connect to and access the controller's configuration. Input your controller credentials and tap Connect. Once logged in, there are 2 RTU options for this example. We'll select Standard Conventional. From this point, you have step-by-step guidance to complete the configuration, starting with Step 1, Zone Monitoring. Here, you'll select which room unit is being set up. The QMX3.P74 and QMX3.P70 both have temperature, humidity, and carbon dioxide sensing. However, the P70 does not have a display, indicated as no HMI. Once you've selected a unit, choose a default schedule. The options are 24/7, 5-day, or 7-day. The 5 and 7-day schedules are from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Once the unit has been selected and scheduled, tap Finish Temperature Monitoring. Next, select fan configuration. If you've selected traditional stage blower fan, it is predetermined on DO6, with the optional fan feedback on DI1. As the feedback is optional, simply tap it, choose none if you do not need it. If you've selected variable speed fan and you use a Climatix VFD, select yes for Modbus drive. You'll notice this example showed an error because we are not connected during this demonstration. You should not see an error when connected. Now select Configure VFD. There are several adjustable parameters for controlling your VFD, though the default settings we see here typically don't need to be changed. If you like what you see, tap Confirm Settings. Now that you've selected a fan type, tap Finish Fan Configuration to move on. Step 3 is cooling. There are 3 cooling compressors configured. If you only have 2 stages, you can remove one by swiping left to delete. Next, select the menu icon at the top right. Here, you can select the duration of the on delay, minimum on and minimum off delay, as well as economizer delay in case you want your compressors to overlap a little with economization. The default settings will work for most cases, adjust as needed, and then select Save Settings. There's also an option to add a capacity input. Tap the arrow to the right to open the menu. Add the compressor's horsepower, and the app will automatically calculate the energy consumption in the background. For this example, we'll close out without setting it up. When done here, just tap Finish Cooling Configuration. Next step, select heating. There are 2 stages set at default DO locations. Feedback can be set optionally by tapping the area to the right and selecting the location. We won't select a feedback for this example. Once again, tap the menu icon at the top right to set the delay. We'll leave it at default for this example, and tap Save Settings. You can delete unneeded heating stages the same way you delete unneeded cooling stages, by swiping left. And finish by tapping Finish Heating Configuration. The 5th step is configuration. Once selected, you see 5 options. Tap Sensors. There are default I/O placements for mixed, discharge, and outside air temperature, as well as air humidity. There are pre-configured terminations based on the kit we provide. You can enable the return temperature or humidity with the toggle switch at the right, then selecting a location. For this example, we'll leave those off. To dial in the calibration of the sensors, tap the top right menu icon. Here you can adjust all of your sensors in case something is off a couple of degrees. Let's leave these as is and tap Save Settings. Then confirm sensor setup by tapping Save Sensors. Next is economizer mode. Tap to open. Single enthalpy is a preset here to match the sensors provided in our RTU kit. To use a different economizer mode, simply tap to select it. You can configure your shutoff set points based on GPS location or manual settings. If you do it based on GPS location, the application will look up a climate zone that you are in and automatically download those parameters. Otherwise, you can manually adjust the temperature setting. For this example, we'll set it to 68 degrees. When you're happy with your selection, tap Finish Economizer mode. Third is Damper Actuator. Tap to open. If you don't have a damper actuator, just tap None. For this example, we are using a modulating damper. With that selected, the preset locations look great, so this is all set. Tap Save Damper Configuration. Next is the exhaust fan. If your setup has an exhaust fan, you would add it using the plus symbol and then choose the appropriate inputs and outputs. For this example, we don't have an exhaust fan, so just tap Save Exhaust Fan Configuration and move on to number 5. Then select Demand Control Ventilation to optimize your indoor air quality. This will automatically be configured with the QMX3, P74, and/or the P70 room unit sensors. To fine-tune the carbon dioxide measurement in parts per million, tap the right menu icon. Here, you can adjust your set point in DCV min-max settings. We'll leave it at the defaults for this example and tap Save Settings. Then tap Save DCV Configuration. And finish up the configuration by tapping Finish Economizer Configuration. The 6th step is safeties. You can see here the clog filter switch preset to DI2. This is preset to match the differential pressure switch in our RTU kit. You can enable any of the other options provided you have IOs available. To enable an option, slide the switch to the right to toggle it on. It will turn green and allow you to select a location. When enabling multiple safeties, we suggest setting locations in numerical order to keep better track. Once your safeties are set the way you want, tap Save Safeties at the bottom. The final step is connectivity. Climatix IC Cloud connectivity is automatically enabled. The activation key will be automatically read from the controller, and the distribution key is specific to the distributor or contractor who is installing the equipment. If you're not using Climatix IC, you just disable the selection and the controller will not connect. If it looks good, tap Finish Connectivity Configuration. Once through the 7 steps, tap Configuration Overview. Scroll through and check that all inputs and outputs are correct. We provide a printout of the default configuration with the controller, or you could print this out, laminate, and mount inside the unit for anyone to see at a glance. Now, let's proceed to save our configuration as a favorite, which makes it easier and faster to repeat this setup if you have multiple RTUs that are identical. First, make sure you're connected to a Wi-Fi or data network as you save these settings with some additional details. Under Address, tap the compass arrow and your location will automatically fill in if your GPS is on. Fill out the location or customer name. In this example, we'll say Bren's Pizza. Further down, you can add a photo of the unit, serial number, or building as reference for yourself or another technician. The more info saved, the easier your job becomes. Though, for this example, let's skip the photo and notes and tap on the star below to make this configuration a favorite. Finally, tap Save Configuration. Now you're back to the home screen, and you see the Bren's Pizza configuration. Any configuration you mark as a favorite will show up on the home screen. When you tap Bren's Pizza and select Standard Conventional Configuration, you can view the configuration setup. There's also a button that allows you to email the configuration to someone else, so they can view or load the same configuration. To do this, select the Configure from Favorites or Import Configuration option at the RTU configuration step near the beginning of this video. As you can imagine, simply loading this saved configuration repeatedly for all similar units can drastically cut down on installation time. And that's it. Hopefully you find this app easy to use and contact us at any time with questions.
That was really as simple as it can be. And remember, again, this is a controller-driven solution. And if you wire it per the wiring diagram, the steps are that simple. Climatix IC. Let's talk about what we get right out of the box. You take the controller out, mount it, and all this comes pre-installed. Once you get on Climatix IC, this dashboard will already be configured for you, and all the values will be set up just like this. You'll have set points across the top. You'll have some temperatures also across the top. You'll have what mode you're in, if you're occupied or not. If you're in free cooling, you'll be able to see your fan speed. You'll also be able to see some of your set points down towards the bottom, and you could change them all from this dashboard. So even a junior technician, by just taking a look at this, you tell if your system is running healthy or not. To take a little bit further of a dive into it, we've created a simple graphic. We had a choice to go simple or more complex, and we thought simple was the best way to go, but it does provide you with a lot more points than the dashboard. You could see if your VFD is running perfect in hertz, you could see its current, and all of this again comes already pre-built. No one needs to hire anybody to do any graphics. All this is built and populated with just a push of a button. Some more things that you get in it is that we actually have a scheduler, very similar to a building automation system. You could do weekly schedules, and you could see here, once you click on them, it'll open up a slider and you could change it per day, copy per week. You could also use a monthly calendar, exemption days. Everything that you would see in a regular building automation system is built right into this scheduler. Upgrades. Now, we all know from the past that we'd have to generally roll a truck to a site, plug into a controller to upgrade any firmware or any new features that came out. What would happen then is that the controller would most likely go down, turn off, come up with its new parameters. But now what we can do is we could do this from a distance. We could do this from the phone. We could do this from your computer, tablet, you name it. Anywhere in the world, we could load firmware per schedule or just do it with the push of a button. So no more taking down a unit during the day. We could do this in the middle of the night, scheduled per what the customer would like. We could do 1,000 of them at one time with one push of a button, and it takes under a minute. We also have web access, which means all the points in the whole system are available to you at any time. So all the VFD parameters, if you really want to dig deep into them, they're all available. You can also dig into any one of the points, set points. You don't just need to look at the dashboard of the graphic. As a longtime technician, I like to look into the actual data. So all the data is here for you also, and you could see if it's on, off, or working correctly. Let me tell you a quick story about one of the country clubs that we've installed a unit in. As you can see here, we've installed this unit and we turned on and we looked at their dashboard and we noticed that there was almost 3,400 parts per million on the indoor air quality. Anybody that knows indoor air quality, that's a little bit out of range. I would say quite high. We generally look for under 1,000. Our set point's 900, but it could be changed. Once we saw this, we went into alarm. Alarms actually were sent all over, but nobody knew what the issue was. So on the phone here, you could see alarms that popped up in this telling us that this zone was out of whack. The trend looked terrible. Wish my stocks looked like that, but they look terrible. So what was happening was, as we went a little bit further and started investigating, we looked on the map, we saw where this unit was, we went to the unit, and then we determined that below the sports shop at this country club, they were storing their golf carts, and on a giant heater in the ceiling, the flue actually rusted and broke off. And as it was running, was just blowing the flue material up into this room, and that's what happened. We don't know how long this was going on, could have been for years, but in my personal opinion, we've kept people safe by putting in this situation. And our system worked fantastic, and Brad, the country club owner, was thrilled to hear about this. Again, this is a controller-driven solution. Everything is built in the controller. Take it out of the box, mount it. It all shows up from the controller. All you need is the mobile application to set the inputs and outputs predetermined from the wiring diagram. If you choose to use the VFD, it will increase energy efficiency, again, just by one push of a button. And then in the end, IC Cloud is how we monitor, get alarms, and we keep looking at the health of our systems from a distance and allow our customers to do their job.